Hi, everybody. It's Robin Truman here, business editor for PAX Tech Magazine. And today I have with me Alan McInnes, Vice President, Business Development at Unum Aircraft Seating. Alan is joining us live from Aircraft Interiors Middle East at the Dubai World Trade Center. Thank you so much for being with us today, Alan. So event organizers have said that there would be an emphasis on digital readiness and AI at AIME 2025. Can you speak to how those topics have been present on the expo floor and what major themes are you picking up in Dubai?
Oh, thanks, Robin. I mean, it's been a really interesting 2 days. This is a show which I've both exhibited at and attended for a few years as a visitor. There's been a noticeable hubbub around the hall in the past 2 days. I'd be really interested to see the visitor numbers because it definitely has felt much busier on the floor, which is fantastic to see because we need a good show in this region.
Yeah.
Um, Walking around the show, I think this event is branded as obviously the MRO and the Aircraft Interiors Middle East. And I think in terms of that AI enablement, there is obviously probably a little bit of a divide between the two elements of the show, because when it comes to aircraft interiors, comfort is so experiential that how can AI ever reflect the needs of the passenger and the individual passenger? And I've always said that it's highly unlikely that any customer of Unum's would select a seat based on just a PowerPoint presentation or even the VR headsets that we send to our customers. Typically, they're going to want to sit on the seat, experience the comfort, the features, the infinite adjustability that we talk about. And so the aircraft interiors element of the show seemed to be very traditional. I went round and we looked at some coverings, but you want to touch them, you want to feel them, you want that experience. We could see seats on the floor that people were experiencing and what do they feel like. Even down to seat belts, you want to touch that and see how the buckle works and all that type of thing. So
Yeah.
I see that AI element creeping into the aircraft interiors side of the show. Around the MRO show, which is the predominant part of the show, a lot of the usual players are there. But what was noticeable was some smaller stands, and then starting to encroach onto the bigger stands was the influence of augmented reality, of AI, of
Mhm.
data enablement, data tracking. But as somebody that's passionate about aircraft interiors and cabin product myself, I thought I'd leave that to the MRO guys.
That's great. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this carries over into the Aircraft Interiors Expo in Hamburg in April. Um,
Yeah.
and so, kind of on that note, how does the aircraft interiors market overall differ in the Middle East compared to Europe or even the Americas?
Well, I mean, I guess, we put the passenger at the center of everything. And therefore, the passenger's expectations vary in all markets across the globe. And, the airlines that we speak to have post-COVID definitely noticed different passenger demographics coming through. And I guess that's reflected in this region as well, because when you look back over the last, I don't know, 2 decades, the airlines that have been pushing the barriers in terms of guest experience, a lot of them have been out in the Middle East region. And if you look at the preponderance of five-star airlines, again, the Middle East dominates. And I guess the airlines in the Middle East have set those standards. Now, whether it's airline pushing the expectation or whether it's passenger demand, I don't really know because we deal with the airline. We very seldom deal directly with the passenger. But
Right.
I do look at the sort of, you have to take your influence from the overall cultures of the region. And very much there is this expectation um, of hospitality, of sociability around hospitality, of
Hmm.
of dining as a family, rather than dare I say it, grabbing a burger in the local fast food joint. And that's not to say fast food joints don't exist out here. They absolutely do. But the reputation for hospitality and sociability around that, I think probably drives on the experiences and on the aircraft, I mean, we have seen some absolutely fantastic products that the Halo products that get mentioned time and time again, whether that's the bar on the A380 that I flew down on, or whether that's Q Suite, which Qatar Airways have used as their Halo product to
Hmm.
shape everything else that they've done in the cabin. Both these elements, if you analyze them, are about that sociability, about that hospitality. So they are very much reflecting of the expectations and the wants of the customer.
Yeah.
And perhaps not so much from if you compare that to the perhaps the transatlantic route, Europe to North America, where tends to be solo business travelers looking for a little bit more of an insular experience, and that privacy. We talk yet again about privacy doors, but that privacy, that insular passenger experience. And I guess that just again reflects through the products that the airlines deliver. Whether it's in the Middle East region or whether it's in Asia Pacific or whether it's in North America or the connecting points of all these.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So in terms of kind of the regional expectations for sociability, privacy, all that sort of thing, um, can you kind of speak to how business class seating expectations differ for airline buyers in the MESA region and how you're seeing that reflected by exhibitors at AIME this year?
Aircraft interiors Middle East, there's not a lot of premium product here. I saw three-seat vendors with stands dominated by economy class product.
Okay.
I think one of the challenges is obviously yet again timetable and scheduling, and we're not that far away from the global showcase that is Hamburg. And I
Yeah.
know we're not here to speak about Hamburg, but nevertheless it's a show which is less focused on premium. So I might not be the best qualified to talk about that because the airlines in the region have had this huge focus and this huge investment on their premium products. And
Hmm.
that's not truly been reflected through the show, but the show
Okay.
is probably 75% MRO and 25% aircraft interiors. And what's quite interesting is for next year, just in speaking to the organisers, the aircraft interiors element will not be a section of the show. The interiors exhibitors will be spread out throughout the show. So it'll be
Okay.
interesting to see how that develops. But in terms of the business class and the premium products, not truly reflected in the show here over the last couple of days. So Unum hasn't brought a seat here,
Yeah.
uh, because Hamburg is just around the corner. But it's something that we would consider in years ahead if the growth we've seen in visitor numbers and airline engagement with the event continues.
Well, that's great. And I really appreciate the insight as to what we can maybe expect next year at AIME and MRO Middle East. I'll look forward to that. And I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today, Alan. For PAX Tech, I'm Robin Truman.